5,
4,
sorry,
3, 2,
sorry,
1. Oh, okay. CTS Pop Culture Podcast. I'm not doing the dumb acronym thing that James does.
CTSPCP
I told you it was coming.
EP 23.
So this week, since Jace hasn't watched Bad Batch, we're exclusively Loki episode 5.
Special edition.
Yeah.
Loki episode 5 special edition.
I don't know if you can spin it that way.
Jace
This
offers
is just
another week of amazing takes. Henry offers little input with cold takes. Jace wins the day again, like he always does. GG's.
I don't know about
exclamation point.
Seeing as I'm the one that makes the title, thumbnail, and video description, we might not be getting that.
I've made a couple of them.
You've made suggestions.
Okay, shut up.
Okay,
episode 5 of
yeah,
Loki.
not a bad episode to take a whole podcast episode to talk about.
No, not bad at all. My favorite so far.
I think I would argue the best episode of like Disney Plus Marvel TV.
I would argue the best episode of Disney Plus exclusive TV ever, like so far.
You think?
The only one that
put it over
the only
final
one
episode of Mando season 2.
That's what I was gonna say. Is they're probably tied, right?
I would put the final episode of Mando season 2 over that. I'd probably even put it on par with like. There's probably another episode of Mando that I would put it on par with. Like the first one of season 2, I loved. But yeah, whatever. Very good episode. I did see some people complaining about it, saying it was filler, which seems weird to me, very odd.
Well, we were talking about this, but it's just not only is that like a really cold take, like something they pulled right out of the freezer,
Right.
but it's just kind of weird. Like it's just weird. It's just that's the only way to describe it is like, what do you want? Like genuinely, what do these people want? I can't I physically can't wrap my brain around it.
It seems like
what
a very
did you
cold
want
take.
to see?
Very
What did you want
cold
to see in
take.
the episode that you didn't see? I wanted to see Kang fighting Loki. Iron Man makes a return, blows everything up. What?
It's not even the final episode either. Like we've still got like a bunch of time left in the show. Jade pulled the Ronaldo and
It's our sponsor, Okay.
Agua.
It's our sponsor, Coca-Cola.
I wish.
Zero sugar. Dude, that'd be so nice. Can you
yeah.
imagine if we got a sponsor and we just got paid to talk absolute nonsense?
Nonsense.
Just a bunch of different subjects.
If
And they're
anybody
like, here's
watching
money.
would like to sponsor the podcast,
Our going rate right now is $500 per second of sponsorship. Or if you want to do this, like put your product in the shot, it's just a straight payment of $40,000 in Bitcoin. Because we are not getting taxed on that. So
whoa. Okay. There is no tax evasion here. IRS, I know you're listening.
Yeah,
Just
no tax evasion. Sorry I said
plug
anything.
your ears again.
Okay, back on track to
'kay.
Loki. So, yeah,
Let's talk. So from the start, it starts with Sylvie waking up, right?
Yes.
No. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. That's not correct.
Well,
It's
first we
Loki.
get, like, a
it's Loki, right? It's Loki.
Oh wait, you're right.
Yeah.
He wakes up and they're standing in front of him, just like how we
Or
saw
he's
that.
going with them, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the Lokis that they introduced, like those variants.
Dude, the kid that killed Thor.
He killed Thor. How?
That's dang.
Like, and they said he's the leader of all of them because he did that, right? Because that's like Loki's thing is you kill Thor. Like that's their main goal, I think. So then they go back to their base, and the one Loki like betrays them and leads all the other Lokis to him. Do you think in that world it's just Lokis?
Well, obviously it's not
Or
because
it's not because
Mobius
Mobius is there. But do like just Loki survive? Like, is that the point they're making? Because they had just talked about like we're Lokis, like we don't die.
So that's That's not a bad take, actually. That's not a terrible take. Did you see all the Easter eggs that were there?
Y-
Like Milnor, there was Frog Thor, there was.
Frog.
Did you see there was the Tony Stark building? But
It was Kang's company.
yeah,
People are
dude.
gonna lose their minds if Kang's
Yeah,
not in this
dude.
last episode.
Which would be dumb, right? Because
Because-
the only thing I wouldn't like, is for it to be another Loki. As long as it's not another Loki, I don't really care who the villain
I
is.
think it's gonna be another Loki.
I don't
to be
think it's
honest.
going to be. If I had to make a prediction, but I also don't think it's going to be Kang. I think it's going to be someone else.
Well, it's weird, like, because people saw that and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it has to be Kang." But there was also the Thanos copter, and no one's saying they put the Thanos copter in it. The villain must be Thanos, right? Like it doesn't.
what would you think about that if it was like a different timeline Thanos,
That'd be so funny.
the Mad Titan?
I think that'd be hilarious. And he's been trying to track down like the old man Loki
Be kinda
because he
cool.
escaped. I don't know. People would be so upset. And it's funny how easily like people's opinions on the show is swayed. Where like episode 1 and 2, and they're like, "This is probably the best Marvel show yet." And episode 3, a lot of people didn't like, and it was, "This is horrible. Like it's a bad show." 4 and 5, it's a majority of people loved it. And then if episode 6 like isn't, I don't know. I see him sticking the landing. I think it's gonna be really good.
Oh yeah, it'll for sure be really good. Kang would be cool. I think they've. If I had to guess, I think it might. I don't know. I kind of don't think it'll be him, but I kind of do. Either way, I don't think I'll be disappointed unless it's another Loki. In which case, I'd be kind of disappointed.
Would you? Doesn't that seem like a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
would.
like that kind of seems like the direction the show is going for me, is that it's going to be about him like defeating the bad aspects of himself.
If they did like a really cool character arc like that, where he just defeats like the evil versions of himself, and he's like this renewed man,
Like
be kind
a-
of dank. You think they kill him, right? You don't think we'll ever see Loki again, right?
No, I think there's going to be a Loki season 2.
There is.
I bet he sticks around with Mobius in the TVA. And that we get Sylvie in the mainline MCU. But I think they kill, because her reality's gone, right? So where's she going to go at the end of this?
Maybe we see her in like a different reality or something.
You think? I bet they take her to the, because we're getting Multiverse of Madness. They need a
The only thing is, like, how many Avengers are you gonna have? Like, they'd have to put
not
her in
Avengers.
something else.
We're getting like, I mean, I forgot. You know what else we can talk about?
Yeah, I
We
forgot
should
about
probably
that
we should
too.
probably wait.
Yeah.
No,
No, we can talk about it.
let's do a spoiler-free review, maybe.
It's kind of cheeky, actually.
Maybe we'll hold them on for next week. We'll give them a
Ooh,
spoiler
teasing them.
review if you check back in next week. We went and saw Black Widow last night.
There's a crying baby in the theater the entire movie.
That's a whole. I think people over the pandemic have forgotten a little bit of their
etiquette.
like movie theater etiquette. So that was pretty rough. But what did you think about the movie?
What's a good way to put it? So I thought it was about as good of a movie as you can get. Like, wait, that's the wrong way to put it. That's exactly the opposite of what I want to say.
About as good of a movie as you were going to get.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to put it. Like, it met my expectations, but it didn't exceed my expectations. It was a good movie. That's about all I can say. Is like, I thought there was some weird things that happened. Some things that I think probably should have been reserved for more powerful beings. And me and you were talking about that.
Like not superhero syndrome, right? Where it's like people who aren't superheroes in a world of superheroes that have to do superhero things or else they just look stupid. So like you get it with Hawkeye, you get it with Black Widow, where it's like Hawkeye shouldn't be able to like shoot 100 arrows a mile.
Right,
and
but he can still be a cool character without
exactly.
it.
Like,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
need
saying.
that. I don't need like Black Widow just being a spy. Like I great, like awesome. I don't need her like jumping off of buildings, falling a mile, and like.
And to be fair, those are like if you watch like a James Bond movie or something. I mean, there's some spy-y things. Like you sort of see the same.
There is some of that, but I wish they'd lean more into that. Like, just make it a Marvel James Bond. Great, awesome. I just don't need you to go like Fast and Furious with it and have it be like completely beyond belief.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought they kind of balanced it well for a lot of the movie, but I wish I do. I can't spoil it, so I won't.
You run into the final act thing where like they have to ramp up the battle for the final act, which that's not a spoiler because that happens.
So
in
what did
every
you
movie.
think about the build-up? Like there was a lot of I don't mind a lot of character development, but I do mind a lot of character development when the timeline goes a lot of character development, big thing. That's it. You just have big thing. This, like, if you're gonna make a movie about character development, do like character development for as much as you need to, and then do something that happens that makes you question your character development, and then just kind of end the show. And I think I'd still have been happy, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the whole reason I've never been like a really big Black Widow fan, is because I didn't know enough about her. Because I'm not into the comic books. I'm not really into all that like literature stuff. Especially with Marvel. I am a little bit more into Star Wars. But I just didn't know a lot about her or who she was. And it's the same thing with Hawkeye, even though I still prefer Hawkeye as a character just because I think he's a cool character.
Yeah.
But this movie made me like her a lot more, but I think it would have been fine if this movie just made me like her a lot more because it showed her backstory and then maybe, coming to terms with her backstory through some fight.
Yeah.
But in the movie we get a lot of character development, and then there is this big thing. There's this big event that happens.
And I think that's just like blockbuster syndrome where like people would be, if there wasn't something big like that, people would be like, what the heck? Like, this isn't even a Marvel movie. Like, so I don't know. I don't love to pin it all on the movie because I think it's a lose-lose where there's people that would probably greatly prefer like, hey, like I don't need a huge like tentpole action scene at the end of my movie. Like, if you just want to develop the character, like great, like show me some backstory, show me some other stuff, like make it a spy thriller, like she's an assassin, like I want to see some of that stuff. But I would say the strongest point of the movie was definitely the characters. Like I would be happy to see any of the like main characters return in the MCU.
I don't think this is a spoiler. I'd love to see I can't remember the superhero name. He had David
Harbour as Red Guardian.
I love David Harbour as an actor, and like even in like movies that he didn't get very good acclaim, like Hellboy. I just think he's a really cool actor.
Yeah.
I would love to see his character more in it because he went through some really cool development throughout the movie, which I thought was pretty dope.
Florence Pugh's character was great. She was awesome in it.
Don't you think that's kind of weird that we left Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson's movie, and we were left talking about pretty much everyone but Scarlett Johansson?
That's hard though, because as a character, like I can't be excited for more Black Widow, right?
But you can be excited to rewatch the shows knowing what she's been through.
No, but I think I would say I am. Like I think that's a great, like that on a rewatch of the MCU. Like I think that's a great movie to slot in between, like Civil War and Infinity War. Like I like that, like along in there with like Ant-Man 2, like kind of in that order.
Do you like the Ant-Man movies?
I like the first one more than the second one. That's about, if I was ranking the movies, that's about the level I'd put this with the first Ant-Man movie.
And see, that's probably at like towards the bottom of my list.
You think? about
But
as dead
think about the
center.
movies that you're comparing it to, right? Like the top of my list is movies like Infinity War, Iron Man,
I guess
Thor Ragnarok,
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, Black Panther. Like those are probably like S tier and A tier movies, but this is probably like a C tier movie, which sounds bad, but I actually don't think it's that
like
bad.
C's average, right? You don't like every movie can't be an A
It's
tier.
average, yeah, and like I think the only movies I'd really put in F tier are probably like the first Thor.
The first Thor, not the second Thor.
The second
Yeah.
Thor, right?
See,
Because what's the second one called?
Dark World.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my thinking with Marvel movies is I've got like 3 tiers. Like there's the best of the best, like Infinity War, Endgame, like Winter Soldier, Ragnarok, those ones, and then kind of the middle bunch that include like ones that aren't as good but are still pretty good movies. And then you've got right at the bottom like Thor 2, Iron Man 3, like some of those. So probably even like Ant-Man 2 I'd put down there at the bottom.
And I'm just like I think I'd probably put Ant-Man in my C category. Probably what you were saying. I really like Paul Rudd as an actor, but I'm just not really the biggest Ant-Man fan. I kind of think he's kind of got the what's the word? The naiveness of Spider-Man, but like he's just not as cool of a superhero. So
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of just I don't know. It's always been kind of weird to me.
Yeah. But yeah, so for Black Widow, I'd probably put it at a pretty good movie that I'm really excited to see what they do with the characters that come out of it.
Yeah, that's a
Would
decent.
you agree with that?
I would say it's a good movie. I probably wouldn't say really good movie. I'd
I
probably
think I
just say
said
it's
pretty good.
Oh.
But yeah, whatever. I wouldn't say really good, but pretty good
I wouldn't
movie.
either. But yeah, like
Okay.
I said, I think it met all my expectations. I thought it was a fine show.
The score was good.
Dude, the soundtrack was beast.
The score was really
The soundtrack
good.
was so beast, and probably one of the better soundtracks and like songs and like orchestral. Is that how you pronounce it? Orchestral?
Yeah, I would just call it a score, to be honest.
Orchestral background music was pretty good. No, I actually really like that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
And then obviously, we can't talk about
We
that because we're not
can't- yeah,
spoiling it.
Next week. It's a Marvel movie, so everyone knows there's a post-credit scene, but we have to wait until next
Post-credit
week to
scene's
talk about
dank.
it. So stick around if you're going to see the movie. Stick around because it was a weird one because there were credits at the very start of the movie. They put credits at the start of the movie, and then you go to the end.
Tell them why.
It's because since it's on a streaming service, they're doing like the premiere access on Disney Plus. To kind of appease the Directors Guild, they had to put like that stuff at the start of the movie since people just skip over the credits.
Are you familiar with how powerful those like directors guilds and producers guilds are in Hollywood?
They are extremely powerful.
You know, with the original Star Wars,
That's
he was
what I was just
fined
gonna
like
say.
a bunch
That
of money
well, he's not in the Directors Guild
anymore.
George Lucas isn't in the Directors Guild because he wanted to completely immerse people in the original Star Wars and didn't want to put credits at the start. Before that, every movie had credits at the start. I'm pretty sure. I might.
So
be
what's
totally
the director?
wrong.
It's basically just like a big union, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a directors union, basically, that set a lot of rules and standards for, and it's a big deal. Like if you're in the Directors Guild, it's a big deal. So, yeah, George Lucas, I think, still not in the Directors Guild because he chose to not put the credits at the start of Star Wars and kind of set the standard for the industry.
What a legend! He's such a beast, dude.
Yeah.
Are you familiar? This is just kind of off topic, just kind of an interesting thing, but are you familiar with like the movie, how powerful the movie rating, or like there was a
MRPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How powerful they were, and like when movies were first coming out up until, I mean, I think it was probably like the 70s or 80s that movies really started you could kind of do whatever you want. Like if you remember when the
I
first
remember
big
when movies-
screenplays. Okay, hear that? You got the entire viewership laughing. All 5 of them are just
They're
dying. in their
dying
seats.
laughing. Hopefully they're not driving. I don't want them to be distracted because
Um.
they're laughing so hard.
Anyways, back to my story before I was so rudely interrupted.
Eek.
If you remember, like the first big motion pictures, they like couldn't even kiss on camera, or if they kissed, it was like, mwah. That was it. That's all they
Yeah.
could do.
Well, it's weird. It was until really recently, it was like super secretive. Like nobody knew who was like on the ratings board. It was like completely locked down, totally secret. Like you would get like sued if you revealed that you were on the ratings board because they didn't want anybody, because it was such a big deal for like, if you look at like box office, the difference between like PG-13 and rated R movies. Like rated R movies have nowhere near the box office potential that PG-13 movies have.
So is this like a government agency that
No.
contributes to it?
I don't think so.
Government has like no role.
I don't know.
That's a lot. They're putting a lot of trust in this agency then to set ratings, because I mean, there's laws. You can't go see a rated R movie.
So
if
it
you're not
might
over
there
18.
must be, right? If there's laws about it, there must be a like some government involvement, but I do think it is a little more private. It's not completely the government.
So this last week I watched, getting into Star Wars just a little bit, I watched the Mortis arc in Star Wars.
Clone Wars.
Watched Clone Wars,
Yeah.
same thing. Or it's not the same thing, but I meant to say
Yeah, you meant Clone Wars.
sorry. So I watched the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, and I watched the Rebels episodes, the ones with Maul, Vader, the crazy arc. What is that called?
Like Twilight of the Apprentice.
Twilight of the Apprentice.
Yeah.
Dude, how about like some of the best Star Wars ever? That Mortis arc is probably, first of all, I think it's the dopest episodes in all of Clone Wars, and that's
funny.
saying something.
It's
for
pretty
8
divisive.
episodes.
It's pretty divisive.
Really?
Yeah.
People don't like it?
Some people think it's like weird and slow and like doesn't matter, and it's so funny because it's, yeah, like I've seen a lot of people that think that it's like just like it doesn't matter, like we don't see him ever
Dude,
again.
the repercussions of those Mortis episodes are insane. Anakin finds out he's the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah. And
so does Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. They find out he's the most powerful being in the universe.
it's too slow. It's a filler episode.
That's just such a hot take. It's just kind of weird. And we see we get introduced to how the dark side isn't the Sith, which is crazy. Like, and we see the father who's like, he doesn't hate the dark side like the Jedi do.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. I think I just think it's such a cool arc, and probably honestly like about as good as Star Wars as you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the best animated Star Wars we're ever gonna get, in my opinion.
You
at
think?
least. I mean, yeah. Other than like Twilight of the Apprentice, which I think is up there.
I could see some cool Rebels stuff. Like when he finishes off, when Dave Filoni has talked about like Ahsoka's story will finish in animation.
I hope it's Clone Wars animation.
I could see us get, and not Rebels.
Yeah, I hope it's not Rebels
Yeah.
animation. I just think Clone Wars has a cooler animation.
Yeah, I could see those being some pretty solid episodes. But no, I love those 2 arcs are some of my favorites as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to bring it up because every time I watch it, I'm like, this is so dank. When Anakin goes to the well of the dark side and he sees his future, it's freaking cool,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to finish off with some predictions for the last episode of Loki?
Sure, let's do it. So your prediction is it's going to be a Loki.
I think it's going to be a Loki variant.
I'm going to say it's not going to be a Loki variant. I don't have a specific choice.
You got to make a specific choice because I'm saying Loki variant.
That's so scuffed. But okay, I will just to appease you. I'll go with Kang. I'll be
'Kay.
lame for that one. Do you think so? You think we're gonna see Sylvie in future Marvel productions?
I do.
Do you
That's
think
a
we'll
little
see
tricky.
Loki?
Not
Do you think we'll see
in
Tom Hiddleston?
I think not in future mainline Marvel productions. I think we'll get a season 2 of Loki.
So I'll make a prediction that we won't. I'll go the opposite way.
Do you think? Let's go with like, does one of them die? Do we think opposite things on that? Because
Does
obviously,
one of them die?
I don't think either of them die.
Oh, one of them for sure is gonna die.
'Kay.
I'm 100% sure of that. That's an easy point actually, because I know one of them's gonna die. They have to. One of them has to die. They can't keep them both alive.
I just don't know.
That's too basic.
Maybe one of them. My thought is that maybe only one of them can return to like the main timeline.
Dude,
so
I
Loki
think one
gets
thing we
stuck.
haven't talked about. I think Mobius is. I think we're gonna see more of him, like way more of him. We have to, right?
In the show.
Not just in the show, like especially if we don't see him in the next episode, there's going to be something that happens with Mobius and the TVA.
I think we'll see him in the next episode. I think it'll wrap that up. I bet they returned.
Mm.
That's where I think we'll get the scene where they return to help Mobius like finish off the TVA, and that's where they'll like part, and Loki will choose to stay with Mobius, or something, or like run the TVA in a new reformed way.
Okay. Do you have any other
that's-
predictions?
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we could? Does Crocodile Loki eat another hand in the last episode?
One thing we got to talk about with Scarlet or Black Widow, I want to mention kind of off topic. Dude, we see, this isn't a spoiler, this is just one scene, so I don't feel bad. We see the Red Guardian break someone's hand.
Yeah, he's like a super soldier.
I know, but we've never seen that in Marvel before, where someone like breaks a hand and we see like the broken hand. That was kind of non-Marvel-ish.
Yeah, I don't know. There definitely though was like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even the dude bashes in his skull.
No, and we see him break his arm.
Yeah,
We see him break his arm, and you see the broken arm.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
I guess it's not cool. It's cool.
No,
not
but
as
that was
cool
a cool
point
scene.
as I thought it was.
That was a cool scene, and there's some other Easter egg stuff there that we can talk about next week.
Yeah.
Okay,
Should we wrap
wrap it up.
Okay. Bye, everyone. CTS PC EP